Good afternoon on what is a surprisingly mild, bright and clear day. It is Friday, December the 31st. I'm back in the Nook with a stack of parcels, including this book, a big one, and of course a nice hot cup of tea. So the next thing I am going to unbox is this. A rattle there, but let's find out what is inside. And I have a box, and this is from the Rolistes. Take off the elastic band, put that right where I can find it again. And what I've got in this is that. Just trying not to drop things. So just going through, we have I'll just show you a QR code for this, which will tell you what it is. Then we have a classification table for the game. Decks of cards, which vary. Two decks of those. Come back, but also there is. There we go. That's what's the core thing in there. I'll come back to that in a moment, because also in there we have a write-on, wipe-off pen. We have, well, one postcard, don't know what that is. Second postcard, again. And then these further cards for, we have things for a dungeon generator table. And last but not least, well, penultimately, okay, because there's also these pebbles in here, which will be used as markers and the like. We have an X card. Always useful to have an X card, because you know, people's lines and veils do need to be respected. So where are we going first? So what we've got is Paris Gondo, the life-saving magic of inventorying. I can't pronounce it. I'm not having a bad day. Of doing your inventory. Promising the dull sensation. 3 million manuscripts sold. I'm hoping that's in game, because that's an awful lot. So anyway, transform your loot into a permanently tidy, clutter-free load, and be amazed at how your whole dungeon crawling experience changes. Dale's revered organizer and spiritual custodian, Paris Gondo, will help you organize your gear and once and for all through the 6 steps of their play-based Gone Paris method. The Gone Paris method is a smart, simple and effective way to banish encumbrance forever. Start by unequipping, then organize your item slots thoroughly, completely in one go. This incredibly easy method will not just keep your loot tidy, it will change you too. You'll feel more blessed, roll more successes, get inspiration to complete the hero's journey you want. This is a story game, by Callum for the Rolistes. So what we've got here essentially is essentially a social commentator style inspired game about a social movement, applied to an aspect of typical role-playing fantasy. So the social commentator, I think, is Marie Kondo, with her decluttering movement, which if you've seen where I live, I do not hold to, but in any stretch, under any stretch of the imagination. And essentially, basically living life with, basically decluttering your life until you get to the things you really value. And then taking that movement and applying it to the encumbrance rules of, say, for example, Dungeons and Dragons. So, for example, okay, you've been down a dungeon, you've killed lots of creatures, you've taken their treasure, you have piles and piles of coins and magical items, okay, and gems and jewels. How are you going to transport that around? Let alone how are you going to transport that around, given how much you could brought to the dungeon with, you know, your flasks of oil and your bag of caltrops, and of course your inevitable 10-foot pole. So here we go. Paris Gondo read heroic stories from the age of 5 and loved the order and beauty of equipment described in them. From the age of 15, they studied inventorying. There we go. Paris started tidying in their own cell and moved on to those of her fellow anchorites. Now Paris lives in the monastery of St. Ivan, helping adventurers transform unencumbered loads into packs of beauty, space, and inspiration. So essentially, we have it's described from transcendental. I'm really having a problem with my words. Transcendental visions by Callum. Here we start. How to read this book. The tabletop how to read this book. The tabletop role-playing game format in Japan inspired this book. As with many of these games, the first half of this book is a replay. It's a transcript of a complete play session edited for your enjoyment to give you an overview of how the game works. If the idea of reading a transcript does not spark you metaphorically with any joy, throw it away and jump to the Gone Paris method section. The second half of the book describes the rules and everything you need to play the game in step-by-step instructions. This game is a collaborative storytelling game. You can jump straight to the Gone Paris method and follow its 6 steps without prior reading. However, it works better if one player facilitates your first session by reading the rules in advance. Okay, so what we've got is, the question is, the first question is, why can't I keep my inventory in order? Now, some games really do a good job of handling inventory. For example, Mouse Ritter gives you little bits of chips or card with items on them, and it fills up space on your backpack and then in your paws, okay, and that fills you up. And the interesting thing is with that, it takes it one step further, is that conditions like being tired or angry or something can also fill up that inventory as well, stopping you from carrying more. But most sort of like just a basic list of equipment, how much it costs, and encumbrance. Don't total up. Okay, does it exceed the £180 that I can carry from A to B? No, I'll carry. I'll be fine then. So we have the replay. Excuse me. Which goes through, set up session 0. And then on to step 1 of the dungeon, and through. So we've really nice illustrations like a sword caught up in a Japanese cube, and there's an idea: grab a tame gelatinous cube to carry all your non-perishable gear. So we've got quite a lengthy replay. This carries on. So basically, we've done step 2. Is the party. Step 3 is loot. All the way down to we get step 4, the life-saving magic of inventorying. So this is actually taking they're not making any bones about this. This really does take up the first half of the book. So we're all the way down to here. So that's the first half of the book before we get onto the Gone Paris method. So here it actually explains this game is a tongue-in-cheek tribute to encumbrance rules and other tropes found in beloved dungeon crawling games. Players in this game embody adventurers who, as a group called a party, have reached the last level of a dungeon and defeated the boss who presided over it. Play starts as the adventurers discover loot you create. The objects you decide your adventure carries home make up what you pack as their final inventory. If the adventurers hold on to possessions that spark joy, they might feel invigorated and satisfied for the rest of their existence, or at least until their next adventure. But letting go of less emotionally charged but useful belongings might prove to be a deadly mistake for the party on their journey home. So yeah, we've got the Gone Paris method and scripting, set up in session 0. So that is what it's doing here is, so where we go to essentially step 1, the dungeon, we're beginning to see so basically the replay modelled in the rules in the earlier half of the book. And let's have a look. I really like the artwork in here. It's really kind of cute. With a sort of atypical party. I mean, obviously, apart from the robot on the end with some kind of drill attachments. So yeah, they've got the loot, decide on the inventory, and then they face presumably the end of level bad guy, got his loot, and they're about to leave. Excuse me. And then you basically you are inventorying up useful and unuseful items. Essentially, just basically work through their value. Okay, and yeah, all the way through. Essentially, where you've got at the end of it, you might suffer because you've got a lethal horde. You've got a lethal horde. And then we get to step 6, the emotional epilogue. At the very end, basically, have you brought home things that are meaningful to you? And then the path ahead. So yeah, and here we go. Basically, we've got basic details of the expanded edition, which I think is what this box is. So yeah, honestly, a storytelling game about a really kind of basically, it's interesting that they've taken really kind of one of the clunkier aspects of role-playing and fantasy role-playing that it tends to get it's really boring to actually do when you're playing. So have I got enough space for all of this? And turn it into an actual storytelling game. So that's Paris Gondo, the life-saving magic of inventorying from the Rolistes. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing of the Nook. If you have, please do click the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings here in the Nook, where you will see me with basically a parcel and a book or game which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge, or for roughly 10 minutes or so, all accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit the subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.